Hi, everyone. It's Shelley. Welcome to number 9, the ninth episode of SNOWED. The Michael Snow is a Fraud series. So I left off where Mike was now back in Ontario. He'd had a restraining order against me. We couldn't be together. So where was he staying? He was staying with his ex-wife. So he wasn't actually costing me as much money because she was feeding him and he was living there. So it was quite comfortable for him. However, he did occasionally still ask me for money, and he had a credit card of mine. So he was using it occasionally, and I was still having to pay on that. And again, you have to remember, this man love bombed me. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go to AA. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make huge changes in my life. This is a real wake up call. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this isn't what I want for my life. Oh, okay. So, remember as well, I have at numerous times throughout this time frame already, I had asked him to leave. I told him I didn't want this relationship. I didn't want to live like this. Not at all. However, I also wanted my money back. So I was a little invested at this point. I do believe he actually was seeing someone, probably in a relationship with someone at this point. He likes to tell half-truths. And one of his half-truths was that he was spending time with his friend, Sherry Ann. Now, Sherry Ann, I think that they had quite a lengthy thing going, now that I think back on it, because there used to be times where even when we were traveling previous to this, that he'd take pictures of things and then he'd stand there and he'd text them off, and he'd take selfies, and I'd say, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm sending it to my friend Sherry Ann. She's never been before. So that was a whole part of things that I really hated. It was never Mr. Snow and I. It was always Mr. Snow, I, and his phone, and all those women that he was texting. So that was huge argument between us. But at any rate, he spent an exorbitant amount of time with this Sherry Ann in Ontario. So I do believe at this point that yes, there was a relationship there. I believe that there was. Sherry Ann isn't one of the women that I've spoken to. Simply because I can't remember her last name. Otherwise, I would. This was about the same time that I also got a lump sum of money from the sale of a building I owned when I was operating my first business. My business partner and I sold a building, and it was finishing up that business. So I did have some money, and I was able to, pay things down, pay that credit card down, and things were okay at this point. So in my life, I enjoyed going on hot holidays. So I was really wanting to go on a hot holiday, and Mike agreed that would be a great thing. However, because he was paying for it, paying me back when when his money became unlocked, he insisted that we take his friend Karen. Okay. So I didn't mind that because at that point I still really enjoyed Karen. So I started looking for hot holidays in Mexico, and I did book something. Remember, he's still living in Ontario, and I'm in Moose Jaw. And so I booked something, and just for the record, I do remember that cost me $7,500, that trip, for the three of us, which really nice, because he absolutely treated me like a piece of garbage on that trip. So right before that trip is when I did have to fly to Calgary to go to court about this assault charge. Then I flew from Calgary to Ontario and met him in Ontario, and the charge against him was not dropped. So he was charged with assault. And we were still actually not supposed to be together at this point, but I wanted a hot holiday. And so off we go on this hot holiday, and he was miserable. He was pissy, he was cranky, and he was miserable to me. And again, all the free alcohol, that just escalated his drinking and his terrible moods.